Success can be defined in so very many different ways. So, one way that you could define success is money. How much money has a person made? So, probably my biggest sales success that I'm aware of. Not a lot of people share their income with me. Some people are very private about that, and they're not like shouting from the rooftops, oh, I'm making this much on my handmade business. The one that I do know that's probably the highest income that I've seen of any member is Kathy. And Kathy has a bath and body page business, like lotions and cuticle oils and things like that, lip balms, that sort of thing. I had a conversation with Kathy and she's like, I knew about you for a while. She had known about the super seller system and me, and that I teach stuff on Facebook. When she first came across my stuff, she had 3 jobs, 2 part-time jobs and a full-time job. She was doing every show she can possibly do. So she was trying to work all of those jobs around the weekends when she has sales or in-person vendor events. She's working 3 jobs, doing every vendor event. And in 2 years, she had only made 2 sales on her website. She had taken one of my 5-day challenges. She liked what she learned there. She thought it was really, really cool. Didn't take action, didn't sign up. Came around, took another one. And finally, she's like, you know what? I got to do something because I really am, I'm burning out. She was just doing everything, right? Barely had time to make product. She was just doing everything. She signed up after that 5-day challenge and then didn't do anything with it for like a month or two. She just let it sit there. And she told me later, she's like, I could just kick myself because as soon as I started applying these strategies, I made $8,000 in sales. The very first full month that she applied what I teach in Handmade Sellers Club and my super seller system, she did $8,000 in sales. Then she did $10,000 in sales. By Christmas of that year, she had made $12,000 around Christmas time. She was able to quit all but one part-time job, which she decided to hang on to. She wasn't doing as many of the weekend shows because she just didn't have time because she was selling so much stuff online. And I love that story because 2 sales in 2 years to $8,000 to $12,000 a month in sales, that's fantastic. You extrapolate that over a year, that's 100,000 plus business, which is amazing. Now, not everything's profit, and I don't know what her profit margins are, but usually with Bath and Body, you have pretty good profit margins on that. So she was doing really, really well. But I love that story because I think about how much money she left on the table all the years trying to figure it out on her own. And even when she found my program, that she was still leaving money on the table, that literally her self-doubt, the will I do it? Will I succeed with it? All of that got in the way of her changing her life because that was a life-changing amount of money. It was a completely life-changing amount of money. And she was leaving all of that on the table for month after month because she was sure she could figure it out on her own. So I love that story for that reason. She's definitely the biggest success story that I'm aware of from our members as far as income goes. Now I know other members between $2,000 to $5,000 a month is pretty standard for most of our members. Some only want to make $1,000 a month, and that's fantastic. And I consider that a win. I consider a success when somebody gets out of the program what they wanted to get out of it. For instance, we have Michelle that makes the doilies. For a long time, Michelle was making about $1,000 a month. She now makes more than that. Michelle really didn't have any big, like, oh, I need to quit my job and I have big bills to pay. She was comfortable. She had a hobby that she wanted to turn into a business, and she turned the business into her hobby. So the business of marketing her doilies became her hobby. And she has so much fun in the Handmade Sellers Club community. She's been involved with projects that we do in Handmade Sellers Club. She sells her doilies. She's got a friend group online of all these customers that love her. She loves showing up live and just talking to people. And she's having such a good time selling her product. And she's making good money from it. But for her, the money isn't really the motivation and it's not really the mark of success. It's that people love and appreciate what she does. She's able to bring these old time patterns back to life and have people ooh and ah over them and actually put money out to buy them. She has community, both with her own followers and in Handmade Sellers Club. So for her, that's that level of success, right? And yeah, she's gone on vacation. She just went to the Netherlands with the money that she makes from Handmade Sellers Club. She does make money from it, but the bigger marker of success is how she gets to live her life. And that makes me think about Diane. Diana was a member. She's still in the super seller system, but she's not in Handmade Sellers Club currently. She had some things happen in her life and she had to back up. That happens a lot. And I consider that success too. If you are running your handmade business and then your life changes and you need to pivot and do something different, maybe get a job or take care of your mom or just rest for a while, this gives you all the space and freedom to do all of that as well. So Diana, when Diana came to me, she painted on glass like the wine glasses. And we helped her, especially with the quick cash method, to find her audience, to show up in a big way and make big sales. And she was absolutely floored by the sales that she was making using the strategies in Handmade Sellers Club. And her success story was that she lived in Texas and they have this big screened in porch that she absolutely loved, but she wanted new porch furniture. And because her husband was the primary breadwinner and she didn't have income of her own, she would have to ask him anytime she wanted to buy something. And she wanted new porch furniture. And her husband was like, yeah, we'll get to that eventually. And she's like, I really want new porch furniture. Yeah, we'll get to that eventually. Well, she did so well with selling her products using the strategies in Handmade Sellers Club that she went out and bought the porch furniture by herself. She didn't take her husband with her. She didn't ask him. She just went to the store and said, I want these things. Here's the money to pay for it. And then she had them deliver it. She was able to take care of everything and get brand new porch furniture because she was empowered to make those decisions by the money she was making in the business that we were helping her make. I love that story almost more than I love the Kathy making $8,000 to $12,000 a month. Because while she wasn't making $8,000 to $10,000 a month, she was getting income for herself that she could use for herself so that she could be the shark in her own life, so she could be empowered and not have to depend on her husband and kind of almost shrink herself to try to convince him to get something that she wanted. She had the power now to just walk in and buy something that she wanted to buy. And I think that is huge. That story is one of my absolute favorite stories. Because before that, she was saying, I thought I was going to have to turn my craft room back into a guest bedroom. It was just bad. I wasn't selling anything. And we were able to take her from that to, I don't need no man, and going out and buying the porch furniture for herself. So I love that story. And I think that's a big success story that comes out of Handmade Sellers Club. Like I said, everybody's there for their own reasons. Some people want to make a lot of money. Some people want to make a little money. Some people have had to stop their businesses for various reasons, but they have this beautiful memory now of this thing that they did that maybe before they got injured or before their life circumstances changed, they had to leave. They have this beautiful memory of what they were able to accomplish. And I think that's ultimately what I get jazzed about and what I consider success is that people that come into the program, they're afraid to take selfies. They're afraid to go live. They don't understand marketing. They're overwhelmed and they feel scared of everything. They're scared of their customers. They're scared of failing. They're scared and they shrink and they shrink and they shrink and they're so afraid in their business. And then they go through Handmade Sellers Club and they go through the super seller training and they attend coaching calls and they start to do selfies and then they start to go live. And they're terrified and they're scared to go live, but they do it anyways. And then they start making sales and then they raise their prices. And then they start telling customers no, because now they have standards of the types of orders they'll take and the types of orders that they won't, and the way that they allow their customers to treat them. And now they're coaching other people in the program and saying, you can do it. You got this. That transformation from being scared and uncertain and the lack of confidence to somebody who's putting their shoulders back and saying like, no, I am the shark. I am a successful business owner. That means everything to me. That is the biggest successes. I had one member, Chelsea, she said, I show up differently to work now. Before in work, I would shrink and I would get nervous and I would kind of hide and I would couch what I had to say. And now I'm like shoulders back and I'm communicating and I'm standing my ground and I have confidence in myself and I have boundaries. That's one of my favorite parts of the program. People getting what they want out of their business, whether it's the money, whether it's empowering them to be able to buy things they want, but then it's also just that confidence that they grow into. And I feel like they're just being a more real, authentic version of themselves. And that's amazing. Practically in tears, gets me goosebumps everywhere because that's really what this is about. That's what being the shark is about. And that's what being a successful business owner, that's a side effect that is just absolutely tremendous. I can't think of enough adjectives. Like that feeling that I feel when that happens, I can't think of a way to describe it because it's transcendent. It's the ultimate experience from going from here to here.